What if I told you this is the last video you'll ever need to watch to get rich in your 20s? Now, I know this is a pretty big claim to make, but the only reason I can say it with a straight face is because I've actually done it myself. I went from being a broke college kid at the age of 18 to being rich arguably by the age of 25. And honestly, it pisses me off because I could have done it way faster if somebody just sat me down and showed me what I'm about to walk you through in this video. And that's why I'm making this video in the first place, because I don't want you to have to waste the same years that I did trying to figure this out on your own. Now, back when I first started, I was in a way worse spot than you probably are right now. I was 18, sitting in my college dorm, watching everybody else seemingly make money and print online as if it grew on trees. While I sat on my bed, confused and with absolutely no clue on how people actually began the process of getting rich. I knew one thing for certain is I needed some sort of skill, something other people actually wanted and were willing to pay good money for. So like everybody else, I tried a bunch of things. Eventually, I got pretty lucky because I was in proximity to Shopify headquarters. So naturally, I got into e-commerce because I heard all the buzz and the jazz about it. I even built a store out of my dorm room that started hitting close to 6 figures a month. Here's the thing, what nobody else knew though, was that I was working every hour I was away. The whole thing depended on me showing up every single day. I wanted to avoid a 9 to 5 so bad, I built my own 9 to 9. And the reason I say that it would have been the easier option is because at least I could have clocked out and had a life. And that's when one of my buddies actually asked me why I was even trying to build the whole thing myself when I could just close deals for people who actually had offers built already. At first, I thought he was crazy. Like, why would I want to sell versus own the actual business? Nevertheless, I did give it a shot. Hands down, it was the best decision I ever made. Because what he was actually doing was introducing me to the world of sales. And although I didn't see it at the time, sales turned out to be the one skill underneath every single successful person I'd ever looked up to. Take it like this, if you look at guys like Phil Knight or Mark Cuban or Ray Kroc, none of them are salespeople and none of them ever started a sales company. The foundation under every single thing they built was ultimately sales. Because when you really break it down, every business in the entire world lives and dies on its sales department. It's simple. If you can't sell, you don't make money. Because nobody is just going to come out there and hand you cash just because you exist. Meanwhile, every single one of those guys just figured that out early. Phil Knight, he was the founder of Nike, sold running shoes out of the trunk of his car for years before the swoosh even ever existed. Before Mark Cuban was Mark Cuban, he was cold calling businesses selling software over the phone. Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's, sold milkshake machines for 17 years before ever owning a fast food restaurant. Whoever you look up to, if you look at the first skill they learned, it's usually sales. And once you start looking at the world through that lens, you start to notice some pretty crazy things. So when I tell you sales is the skill to learn in your 20s, I genuinely mean it. I'm telling you to pick up the one foundational skill that every other thing you want in life is going to sit on top of. Because every conversation you have where you want a specific outcome is just sales in some way, shape, or form. But here's where it gets really interesting. What I noticed really quickly with sales, it's actually the only skill on the planet that actually pays you while you train it. Every other valuable skill out there has the same fundamental problem, which is that you have to spend years building it before anyone pays you a single dollar. And most guys never actually make it cross that gap before they run out of money or belief that they can actually do it. Take coding, for example. You're gonna spend 18 months grinding tutorials and how-tos and scouring GitHub in your bedroom before you actually deploy anything that even resembles something of a real product, unless you're vibe coding. And even then, it might take another year before somebody actually pays you for it. Same deal with dropshipping, where you grind for 6 months burning ad spend on products that never convert, or SMMA, which most guys quit after 4 months of cold outreach with 0 clients because nobody wants to pay you for a skill that's so easily attainable. The pattern across all of these skills is identical. Build first, earn later, and help you survive long enough to make it to the earning part. Sales is the one skill in the world where it doesn't work like that. And the reason is actually pretty simple once you notice it. The asset you're using to earn already actually exists when you walk in the door. Because some founder out there has already spent years building an offer that actually converts, that has product market fit, that is running ads and bringing in leads and stacking up a calendar full of calls that just need somebody to actually sit there, take the calls and close them. The only thing missing from that whole machine is you, which means the second you can hold a basic conversation, there's a real founder out there that's ready to pay you a cut of every single deal you close. So while a guy's learning code is broke in his bedroom for 18 months trying to land his first dev job, the guy learning sales is already pulling 3, 5, even 10 grand a month inside of 90 days. Because with every other skill on the planet, you build first and earn later. But with sales, you earn while you build. Having now taken over 13,000 calls in my sales career, I've gotten to actually see how this actually plays out firsthand. And there's actually something that took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out about my own journey, is that the first 1,000 calls I took, I wasn't really amazing at sales yet. I was good enough to essentially get paid to keep learning how to actually close them. By the time I had hit a few thousand calls, I had founders text me on the side, getting my information from colleagues to try and poach me by offering me larger spreads or a bit different incentives, essentially fighting over who got to bring me onto their offer. Next thing you know, I was managing multiple teams at once, and pretty much by the time I reached the 10,000 calls taken. And now if you ask me, that's the cheat code nobody actually talks about. That's the reason I never tell anyone to learn anything else first. Now look, whenever I get to this part of the conversation with my students, most of them try to slap me in the face with this default excuse where they tell me they're not a sales guy. Like they're not naturally charismatic, or that, you know, this is one of those things that is really only for like talented people. As if, you know, some people are just born with this kind of spark. Some guys come into this with a little bit of more natural rhythm. Sure, won't deny that. They might even pick it up faster or even end up skyrocketing past everyone else. But the bar for who can actually learn the skill is way lower than most people think. If you can tie your shoes, you're basically halfway there. Okay? You're more than capable of learning how to do this as well. Because just like tying your shoes, sales is just a skill you have to learn, then practice over and over and over again until you get really good at it. It's really that simple. So that belief that you're not built for it is, quite frankly, honestly, the single most expensive lie online nowadays that I'm seeing. Because the truth is, you can literally learn anything you want online right now. You can learn coding, you can learn copywriting, you can learn dropshipping, you can learn how to run ads. All of it is sitting there for free if you actually want to go and find it. So if you can learn anything online, why not pick the one skill that 90% of people are never going to have and let you build whatever you want from there? At least that's how I see it. Now, look, by this point, you already know sales isn't just a job. It's an operating system that sets up the rest of your life. You know, sales is the only skill in the world that actually pays you while you're still learning it. And you know, you do not need to be 1 in a million talent to actually succeed with it. But how do you actually learn this thing? Because I kind of touched on it earlier when I said it comes down to the reps, but what does it actually look like? Because yes, you need reps, but if you're starting from scratch, like brand new, you're not just going to hop on a call and wing it. You're going to need to learn the foundations first. And for that, I have an entire 0 to 10K a month setter closer guide that you can get for free. I'll leave the link in the description. It will teach you everything you need to know fundamentally in terms of skills that you need to go from no experience to making 5, 10, or 15K a month as a setter or a closer. That'll help you go from 0 to 100. So assuming you have the foundations, the next steps you can take to actually master the skills is by getting in the room with other closers who are all grinding at the same level. Bonus points if you're the dumbest in the room, because you'll just end up picking up all the things that they're putting down a lot faster. They'll just be more nuggets for you to absorb. What you do is you run practice scripts back and forth until the words feel natural coming out of your mouth, right? Then you get coaches to tear your calls apart line by line. So you fix your mistakes and you learn faster than you ever could alone, or worse, by burning leads on an offer that you might get on. From there on out, it is literally just reps. That's basically the entire method. It's just reps inside the right room. And honestly, the room ends up doing most of the heavy lifting for you anyway. And once you do this enough, you'll literally start watching yourself grow on every single call. The words are going to literally start coming out of you more naturally. Your confidence is going to spike through the roof and it's going to compound. And the objections that you used to get thrown just stop phasing you altogether, or you learn to prevent them before they even show up now. At some point, you wake up closing deals that would have absolutely terrified you 6 months earlier. That's exactly how it went for me and how it's gone for every single one of my students inside of Ember. Now, once you've got sales process locked in at that level, this is where things get really fun, because once you pass the beginner stage, you've got 3 different doors in front of you, and each of them opens a completely different level of income. The first door is the closer door, where you're consistently pulling anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000 a month in personal commission for the calls you take and you close, taking anywhere from 5 to 7 calls a day from pretty much anywhere in the world, wherever you got a Wi-Fi connection. And your mission is usually just making sure you're done by lunch. So even if you'd stop here, you'd already been doing more than most people in your circle. But once you spent enough time inside the closer door, most guys naturally start wanting more, because there's only so much you can pull when you're actually the one taking every single call. That's exactly when the second door starts to open up. The second door is sales management, where you stop running calls yourself and start making sure closers are running them for you. This is where your solo income turns into team leverage, because a manager overseeing a team, 10 closers, is sitting on top of anywhere from 600 to 700K a month in team revenue, and his cut alone clears anywhere from 30 to 80,000 a month on top of whatever he's still doing personally. And once you've built a team that runs without you, how all of this actually works under the hood. That's when the third door opens up, which is the one that I'm personally walking through right now. This is where you take and harness everything you've built and finally turn it into something of your own. Whether that's training and placing reps on a handful of offers that you run, manage, or are scaling, like myself, or starting your own offer, your own software, or honestly, anything else you want to build. Because now at that point, you have the one skill every business on the planet needs, and almost nobody actually really has at a high level, which is exactly why the income at this level becomes genuinely uncapped. Take Jimmy, for example, one of my old students. He started as a setter, he moved up to a closer, became a sales manager, built a software, launched super basic talking head style video ads for it. Leads started coming in. He started closing his own deals for his own company, keeping all the commission. Within 2 weeks after doing a year of sales, his offer was completely off the ground solely because he was such a phenomenal closer, was able to put revenue through the door. Any lead that came in, he was able to pick up the phone, set it to himself, and close the deal accordingly. But that's a conversation for an entirely other video. Yep. And if you want me to actually break down what each door looks like what the actual day-to-day really feels like, and what the exact moves you need to make at each level, comment the word door below, and if I see enough of you actually want it, I'll make a complete video breaking that all down. The reason I'm not going to go deeper today, though, is because none of those doors even show up until you've mastered the one skill underneath them all that's going to make you rich in your 20s. So if you're serious about learning that skill and changing the entire dynamic of your life, I put together a full free training that covers everything you need to know to actually master sales from front to back, no fluff. And inside it, I've laid out the exact roadmap and path that took me from broke at 18 to over $1 million in commissions closed at the age of 25. And the same path I've used to walk dozens of other guys with zero experience into their first 5, 10, even 30K months as closers. So if you want to watch that video should pop up on the screen right now. But if not, I'll leave it linked in the description anyway. Go watch it, and I'll see you on the other side.